guns and loves regulation and thinks that more rules will protect everybody and stop gun crime. But, well, I discuss it as I begin my show. We have a clip on that. You've heard what the mainstream media says about these.
You just having a gun to defend yourself puts us all at
Zero
increased deaths by guns.
That nigga is a host. That's funny. He is a bitch. That's funny. I don't know when I'm coming back to Atlanta. I might start working in this new hospital in maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm still waiting to find out. But if that happens, then I'm probably not going to be able to go on vacation until like spring. Probably like 4 or 5 months out. So we'll see.
Country. Violence is always going to be part of it if guns are available.
That made sense to me for years because it's logical to think that if more people, there'll be much more gun crime. Also, I live in New York City. There are a lot of people here. If just some of them carried guns, I assumed there'd be gunfire all the time. After all, if a couple gets into a fight or people get into a car accident, if they're armed, instead of just shouting at each other, they might shoot and kill each other. That's why it's a good thing that I now am not armed. Except, what if?
That's a fucking stupid conclusion. Who argues with each other and then says, fuck it? Who the fuck does that? Nobody does. Well, I'm not going to say nobody, but because I got a family member who, he hasn't shot anybody, but he's always quick to, you know what I mean? But he's quick in attitude, not in action. So it's different. Like, who the fuck is going to pull out a gun? Oh, we're disagreeing. Fuck it. And I'm just going to pull out a gun and shoot you because we're disagreeing. That's fucking stupid. And the likelihood of that is so small, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, come on.
The mainstream media, as so often happens, is wrong, or at least missing the point. What if more guns means less crime?
Well, do you have facts to back that up?
Well, after researching it for years, yes, it seems more guns often equals less crime. And the best example is concealed carry. We asked people outside the studio, what would life be like if the average adult were allowed to carry a concealed handgun? And they say things like, it'd be awful, terror, blood in the streets. But what they don't know, because we're so isolated here in New York, is that most states already allow that. And in the states where they pass the laws, here's a chart that chronicles...
It's not a Stossel hit without the props.
Crime, gun crime, murder went down after states passed...
All right, so murder rates before and after the adoption of right to carry laws, right? So before and after, before the right to carry, you can't carry shit, right? Okay? After you're allowed to carry, look at the tremendous dip. Okay? A criminal has to think a couple of times. All right?
Concealed carry.
You got to think twice before you want to come do anything.
Why? Why is that?
Because the bad guys start thinking, gee, if I rob this guy, he might be packing. Maybe I won't, or maybe I'll...
See, that's what I just said. Look.
Gun crime, murder went down after states passed concealed carry laws.
Why? Why is that?
Because the bad guys start thinking, gee, if I rob this guy, he might be packing. Maybe I won't, or maybe I'll go someplace where they aren't carrying.
Now, knowing that you were going to take this position, went online to the Brady Center. They're anti-gun, as you know.
And we'll have them on my show.
Okay, and these are the statistics that they put out there. They say that states with high household gun ownership have more unintentional shooting deaths than states that have low gun ownership. They say that a gun is 22 times more likely to be used in an attempted suicide.
Hold on.
On my show.
Okay, and these are the statistics that they put out there. They say that states with high household gun ownership have more unintentional shooting deaths than states that have low gun ownership.
Y'all better stop.
They say that a gun is 22 times more likely to be used in an attempted suicide, in a criminal assault or homicide, or an unintentional shooting than it is to be used in self-defense.
All right, well, let's break them down one at a time. The first one was what again?
The first one was the states that have more gun ownership, more households have guns, have more unintentional shooting deaths than states that have low numbers of guns.
Well, that's logical, and I'm sure true. Unintentional deaths, you're going to have more gun accidents where you have more guns. But that doesn't really address the issue if you're scared and you live in a dangerous neighborhood. Are you...
All right, see, now he's talking about where we can relate, right? So listen to what he's saying. Now he's talking about what we can relate to. Okay, listen.
True. Unintentional deaths, you're going to have more gun accidents where you have more guns. But that doesn't really address the issue if you're scared and you live in a dangerous neighborhood. Are you, in total, safer if you're able to protect yourself?
You know, the thing is, you mentioned being a liberal, right, and working for ABC News and feeling that guns are bad. I mean, I grew up in upstate New York, and...
Where everybody has a gun, right?
Well, no, but it was a very liberal area, and I was...
see, he got her ass, because she's like, no, because I got to present the case. You like, always realize when the news deliver you something, regardless of their personal past, they have to present the case a particular way. Right?
Was
upstate New York?
Yeah, the parts where I was in the big cities, the big cities of upstate New York. But anyway, the point is, I was sort of raised to believe the same, that guns are bad. And then I had a personal security issue in my life, and for the first time in my life, went to the shooting range and started taking...
Oh, don't even get me started on that 21 Savage shit. That shit had me crying. The nigga said, I'm a hoe too. And then he had the nerve to look like fucking... like he was walking out with the dodgeball team. Like, y'all see the way he was dressed? He had, like, fucking booty shorts on. I was just like, what the fuck? Come on, son. That's why I can't wait for the system to fall. I really can't.
And it was a sort of a scary experience for me, but also very empowering. And for the first time in my life, I felt maybe these guns actually aren't so bad. Maybe they could be used by the good person against the bad person who wants to cause them harm. But you don't really understand that as somebody who's raised to believe they're bad.
Totally. And they've been called the great equalizer for just...
Word, that man looked like he got neutered. Man looked like he got his balls removed. And they could just shag in air. So he doing the air hump. You ever seen dogs do the air hump? They can't, because they ain't got no rocks off. It's so long, because you ain't got no rocks to get nothing off. Like...
It's the example you give for women. Women generally smaller than men. How can a woman defend herself against a stalker or some crazy guy? And
right.
Frankly, more of us guys are crazy than you women for whatever reason.
Well, we act out in different ways.
We definitely more violent. I think so. I think it's easier for men to get to violence. Well, actually, I don't know. Like, women will argue a lot, and then they'll do a lot of that. You know what I mean? But when y'all fight, it's fucking crazy. Like, females fighting is 100 times more savage than men fighting. Because once y'all get over that, whatever that hump is, where y'all just say, fuck it, it's over. Like, they're just, all they see is red. Like, with niggas, we'll get to that point, and then, like, niggas could fight, and then talk right after. You feel what I'm saying? Like, with y'all, it's a whole nother level.
Can't have one.
That's why when the shit kick off and you got a chick who knows how to use a gun, that's your best fucking friend right there. That's your best fucking friend. A chick who knows how to use a gun or got a gun license. That's your best friend. Trust me.
No, we have crap.
Because she will let that thing buck. Any chick I ever known that used to carry a hammer on her, either illegally or legally, will let that thing fly. So
I'm not even allowed to hold a fake gun in the studio.
Is that true? You couldn't even bring one into the set?
Right.
So that cop uniform you wear doesn't have a gun connected to it?
Oh.
I was looking at the bill.
a lot of females pull hair, but the ones I knew from high school, they used to throw blows like full on fists. Like I wish Jenny was in here. Jenny probably knocked out, but one day I'm gonna get a live where Jenny could be in here. She went to high school with me, right? She went to I believe she was in 7th and 8th grade with me as well, if I'm not mistaken. So she known me for a long time, and I known Jenny. She get down like I'm talking like she'll mace you, duff you, rip your eyes out your head. Like this bitch crazy.
Philly Club.
And often what's not in the statistics are how many times, some people say millions, somebody just showing a gun.
Nigga said Jenny the girl with the hand. How that girl gonna fight? What's she gonna do? Run him off with the hand? Like, come here. Y'all messed up, man.
It's often the people don't want to tell the police about it because they're afraid the cops will take their gun.
And you worry that the bad guy's going to have a gun because it's so easy to get him on the black market, and that you're going to be caught without one. You know, your fist or your knife to his gun when he's broken into your house in the middle of the night. So, I mean, there are arguments on both sides.
That's true.
You will be exploring
the evidence is on the gun side.
And so don't mess with Stossel, really. That's what he's trying to tell you, because we all know Stossel doesn't follow the law. You know, I mean, the marijuana and the prostitutes, not that he partakes.
Against the law.
Not that he...
All right, so I guess they're getting off point now, right? So, there was one more thing I probably got to show. Okay, we're going to look at some facts about Switzerland, firearm legislation in Switzerland, and then crime rate increases with Australian gun ban. We'll look at crime rate increases just to show you the reverse comparison, right? Because I can show you a comparison from one way, and then somebody will be like, well, you know, the circumstance is different, the context is different, so I got to show you from the second way. So let me do that real quick. Fuck it. Uh-oh. I think I just broke the toaster. And I'm about to leave them in like 2 or 3 weeks. I just broke these niggas' toaster. Damn. Alright. It's hot sauce. Alright, hold up. French fry. Alright. Plug you back in real quick. Okay. Oh, shit. Ready? Hold up. So watch this.
10 things you don't know about Switzerland. Number 1. National languages. There are 4 national languages widely spoken in Switzerland, although English is increasingly popular as around 60% of the population are proficient in Britain. Year. Estimated that some 600...
Oh, wait, hold up. I didn't know this. Hold up.
English speakers. Number 2. Cannabis. Switzerland has one of the highest rates of cannabis use in the world, along with the US and Britain. It's estimated that some 600,000 users get through 100 tons of hash and marijuana each year. Since 2013, the possession of marijuana is not illegal for anyone older than 18 years. Number 3. Renewable electricity. More than half of Swiss domestic electricity is produced by 550 hydroelectric power. Hydropower, the country's most important renewable energy source. There are several thousand lakes in Switzerland, of which Lake Geneva is the largest and reportedly holds more than...
Hell no, I ain't moving to Switzerland. This is probably one of the most demonic places on the earth. Like, this is where they did that ritual with them coming out of the cave and the fucking CERN thing. It took place in this state. This this country is known for being neutral, which means it's probably one of the highest Masonic ranks countries in the world, just because it plays both sides. So you got to be careful.
40 shipwrecks.
I just want to get to the gun part.
Fence Asian. Constitution males cannot...
Okay, military service. Close.
A blow at a moment's notice. Number 5. Military service. Under the Swiss Constitution, male Swiss citizens have to serve in the Swiss Army after age 18, while women can opt to volunteer. Military training camps are common across Switzerland as civilians carry shotguns over their shoulders.
What?
It is also legal to keep personal army-issued weapons after service. Switzerland's high gun ownership is partly... while women cannot have to serve in the Swiss Army after age 18.
Listen.
While women can opt to volunteer. Military training camps are common across Switzerland as civilians carry shotguns over their shoulders. It is also legal to keep personal army-issued weapons after service. Switzerland's high gun ownership is partly due to the Swiss tradition of keeping militia army rifles at home. Number 6. Nuclear shelter. Switzerland is fully prepared for a nuclear war. There are enough nuclear fallout shelters.
All right, so more or less you get the point. You know. So, not only do it's mandatory for the males to enlist in the military, and I guess that's to give them some semblance of the ability to be kings of their own household, to be able to defend themselves and their family, right? How safe is a nation truly if you got to wait on the National Guards to be able to help yourself, right? This is one of the reasons why looking up information like this can help our nation of people begin to set a foundation for ourselves so that when the system breaks down, we at least know how to put things in order, right? This is why it's imperative. This is why the scripture says what it says, right? Because I got to keep in mind, I got to get you guys back into the lane of the Torah. You know, I've been slacking with including the lessons, right? So, this is why the book says what it says in terms of our ability to separate and our ability to have true sovereignty and be able to defend ourselves. So each of us got to know how to physically defend ourselves as well as use these weapons. And then you got to have the mind or the strategies to be able to employ the use of these weapons. So everybody got a role, but the one commonality behind everything is that everybody has to study. You don't study, you become the weak link in the chain. You understand what I'm saying? Because then you're going to be the one who's arguing and holding everybody up because all the rest of us who study have agreed to move in this direction, and your dumb ass don't want to move from where you're standing on because you're not sure. So we need less people unsure and more people who are certain. Okay? So this is why I get extremely frustrated with motherfuckers who don't study for shit. Right? Don't even try. Like, if you're trying, that's cool. Because you just started a month ago or a year ago. Cool. Right? But if you're not trying, be quiet and learn. And, get on your bike first. And then you can start doing all that extra shit. Alright.
Hello everybody. 2 years ago I posted a video called Does Every Swiss Have a Gun? This video is quite popular and has reached around 7,000 views so far. Many viewers PM me after watching the video.
I can already tell I'm not gonna like this nigga shit. Fuck that.
A gun buyback that forced law-abiding...
Alright, so this is the reverse, right? This is in Australia, they put gun law restrictions in place and more violence went up, right?
citizens to surrender their firearms in a nationwide roundup and meltdown of all semi-automatic...
A nationwide roundup and meltdown. So understand that this is what's going to be coming from state to state or from FEMA region to FEMA region. They're going to go around and raid houses, right? And the raiding of houses, I guarantee you they take any tangible gold and silver that you may or may not have, right? That's number one. Two, they're coming for them guns. Ammunition and the actual guns itself, whether pistols, assault rifles, semi-automatics, doesn't matter. Okay? So if you get a gun license, cool if that's what you want to do, but what is it going to matter when they're going to come and do this shit? Like, you really got to understand what's coming.
Firearms and pump-action rifles and shotguns. 640,000 ordinary of all semi-automatic firearms and pump-action rifles and shotguns. 640,000 ordinary conventional firearms confiscated and destroyed.
It was an absolute joke and a tragedy. I actually turned in 3 firearms, and it broke my heart.
And these were legal gun owners, right? Legal gun owners. And they took away their gun license.
40 years of collecting, and I can't say it any other way than that. I felt sick. I had to hand them in because if I didn't, I was going to jail.
There's no ifs or buts about that. By taking that gun away from me, they've stolen something from me.
A right stolen by their government, promising safety in return for its gun bans. But now citizens know the frightening truth. The cost of lost liberty can be measured in the loss of life.
It's become very, very obvious, even to blind Freddy, that the expenditure of $500 million has done absolutely nothing to reduce crime. It certainly didn't do what...
Hold up. You paying attention? Hold up, my fault. Got mad sauce on my fingertips.
In return for its gun bans. But now citizens know the frightening truth. The cost of lost liberty can be measured in the loss of life.
It's become very, very obvious, even to blind Freddy, that the expenditure of $500 million has done absolutely nothing to reduce crime. It certainly didn't do what the government touted it would do, which was to reduce crime. It hasn't done that at all. In fact, there's been more. This has been a lot of bull and hasn't really done much to help society and with its problems.
Cold, hard facts, the anti-gun forces can no longer escape. Armed robberies have skyrocketed, up 69%. Assaults involving guns rose 28%.
Yo.
Gun murders increased 19%. And a new phenomenon, home invasions jumped 21%.
First off, in the hood, isn't this one of the #1 things? Home invasions. I know niggas out in Florida be on that. Niggas in the South, first off, y'all niggas be bold as hell, right? Knowing full well a nigga's packing, y'all niggas still do home invasions, right? But look, now take all of these crimes and multiply them when it comes to black neighborhoods. This is why, right? Because we don't have guns to defend ourselves against the niggas who are the... All right, let me just bring it back to Torah real quick so I can show you. I think this is Deuteronomy 28:36, I think. Deuteronomy 28:36, I think. 34 to 36 or some shit like that. Nah, it might be 54. Matter of fact, it's a tender-hearted. That's what it means, tender-hearted. Okay, it's 54. Right? So, Deuteronomy 28:54, the most tender-hearted man, right? So I'm going to go to Blue Letter Bible just in case. Because you know how these people are. Where is it? .com. What are we gonna look up again? Okay, Deuteronomy 28:54. We'll just look up the KJV version. It's not really my preference. It's just something we can keep it simple, right? And so I'm gonna read it for you. So that the man that is tender. What does it mean to be tender? Fucking soft, right? The man who's soft, the bitch-like nigga, the bitch-ass nigga amongst you. So it's talking about bitch-ass niggas, right? So I'm gonna read it to you, but I'm just gonna first expand to you on the tenderness of what it's talking about. Tenderness in terms of like their spirit, right? Their mind, not in the sense of their physical stature, right? It's talking about their mind state. Keep in mind, a majority of the Torah is dealing with the spirit or the mind. This is why the book is not understood by everybody, because most everybody is carnal, right? They're the lower two chakra bases, the root chakra, and then you got this, I forget what the other one's called, the sexual chakra. What the hell is it called? Whatever, not the base. You got the base and the root, that's the red one, and then the orange one. Those two usually go together, right? Most people occupy that spiritual... My fault, this stupid shit always popping up. But most people occupy that space. So when it's talking about the tender amongst them, when it say you're behaving like a heathen, when the scriptures tell us that we're heathen-like, that means we're not being spiritual. We're not being logical or rational people. We're being animalistic. We're working on our emotions. And that's how somebody who's tender in their heart is, right? So a lot of hood niggas are raised by, in what type of household? They're raised in single family households. And usually the single parent that's raising them is who? A female. So who are they going to adopt the way that they behave? They're going to adopt it from that woman, right? So when they go out in the street and they interact and they get emotion first, logic second, shoot first, ask questions last, what niggas you think the scripture's talking about? Who's tender-hearted and bitch-like? Who's not man enough to sit down? How many of these niggas do I show you every fucking day come on my Instagram and end up wanting to fight me because they end up being wrong? They really want to fight because they're wrong and they're emotional. These are niggas that are under the curses. These are tender-hearted, bitch-like motherfuckers. A man, like if two men are having a conversation and it's a heated conversation, I should be able to say you're acting like a bitch without you go ahead and proving my point. Do you understand what I'm saying? A nigga could come up to me and say I'm acting like a bitch and it's not going to move me. The only thing that's going to move me is when you physically make your move to put your hands on me. Then that's a different story. Because I could throw words too. You understand what I'm saying? I can throw words as well. But the bitches of niggas is niggas that are tender-hearted. They're soft-hearted. They got a soft mind. And this is what this particular scripture is talking about. And in that video, what he's talking about, right? So when you think about niggas in our neighborhoods that constantly prey on their own people, these are niggas with tender hearts. They're weak in this captivity. This captivity has made them spiritually weak. It has beaten down on them to the point where they can't even recognize themselves in their own people. You got to understand this. You have to. Right?
And increased politicians insist they can't explain because they're still trying to legally define what a home invasion is and what the penalty should be.
Part of the difficulty is that there is no clear definition of home invasion in the law.
Never cease to be amazed at the ingenuity of lawyers. If the politicians want a pay rise, boom, that's done in 20 minutes. But to define home invasion, what a joke.
I have no trouble at all in defining what a home invasion is. I think if someone sets their foot inside your door uninvited, they are invading your home and your privacy.
And victims who have survived home invasions don't need a definition. They've lived through hours of terror. Arthur Field was tied up, his hands and feet taken, his phone lines cut, while two robbers ransacked his house.
Tell me, like, if I pull up news clips from the Bronx, right? So, like, if you watch New York City news, a lot of these crimes which are described, like, right here, where they'd be robbing the elderly and shit, whooping the shit out of old people, you know what I mean? Robbing them by gunpoint, robbing women by gunpoint, busting niggas in their head, running up on niggas by the bodega and busting them in their head and running off and never getting caught. Like, nigga, what the fuck do you think they talking about? This is the same situation. It's the same shit, right? And the Bronx is crazy. Don't let niggas tell you the Bronx ain't crazy. The Bronx is crazy, yo. Crazy.
They jumped on me and knelt on my chest and grabbed me around the throat, but I immediately started calling out, help.
I don't know how many men, they start smashing the windows. There was a lot of glass shattering, a lot of noise outside, and I stood in the kitchen, I was trembling.
The Zawadzkis, remember, thugs running through their home, demanding money and threatening to kill them. Mr. Zawadsky says if he had a fire...
Now look, he's about to say what I'm going to say. Now, if he had a firearm, he would have been willing and ready to defend himself, right? And his wife. What is police response? Like, fuck police response in white neighborhoods. Let's talk about us. What's police response in our neighborhoods? It's usually 10 minutes or more, right? Let's be real. It's usually 10 minutes or more. What's the ambulance response in our neighborhood? Around the same. It's like 10 minutes or more, right? So you got to think about it. What is the likelihood that when we live in poor neighborhoods and the tender-hearted niggas in our hoods are robbing each other and robbing us, you think that your enemy is God? Sorry. I haven't done the stupid phone update, so it's going to keep doing that. Do you think these tender-hearted niggas are going to care about the laws in the neighborhood? They don't give a fuck about the laws. You think these tender-hearted niggas are going to go to white people's neighborhoods and go exhibit that behavior? No, because the police will then care. So they rob from their own people because they're bitch-like, right?
Firearm. The suspects never would have gotten away.
Do you will stand waiting till you get killed? Or you will defend yourself? Tell me true, you will defend yourself.
Scars that never heal. Citizens left powerless. But it's criminals who have been empowered and emboldened by the new gun laws because the innocent...
You hearing this? Criminals who have been empowered and emboldened by the new gun laws. Let me ask you something. After they confiscate all the guns and then martial law really sets in, and then after martial law sets in, we got to flee the cities, right? Let me ask you a question. You really think the criminals amongst all of these people, doesn't matter what race, you think they're going to give a fuck? They're not going to care. They're going to roll up in different areas, taking what they want, including, especially women. In the times which are coming, you women, I would advise you learn how to use a gun. I learned how to stab niggas. Like, it's not as easy as y'all think. Because, like, when it come time to actually do it, you're going to have that space in your mind where, you know, you can't half-ass when you stab somebody. You either all in or you don't do it at all. So that's my advice to you, right? Learn how, and for anybody, you better learn mentally not to be tender-hearted when it's time to be callous. Read Ecclesiastes. There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time for love. There's a time for hate. There's a time for war. There's a time for peace. There's a time for killing. And there's a time for... And it looks like y'all don't believe me when the scriptures tell you what it tells you. I be trying to tell people that the scriptures say what it say. You know, and there ain't no sugarcoating about it. I'm not saying to go out on the offensive. I'm just saying as a matter of self-defense, you have the right to defend yourself. This is natural law of preservation. Look it up. Look up the law of preservation. The Most High would not have included the law of preservation in your biological makeup, in your DNA structure, if it wasn't supposed to be utilized. You're to fight for your survival. Okay? Don't let anybody tell you any differently. What is this? Ecclesiastes 3:3? Why didn't that pop up? Because I spelled it wrong? Okay. What does that say? A what? That's pretty clear, is it not? Alright. So just in case motherfuckers want to go to the Hebrew, because there's a difference between killing and murdering. But a lot of people choose, I guess they choose not to adhere to that. I don't know. Let me see what this means. Versions and translations, images or maps, treasury, scripture of knowledge, concordance. There we go. 3:3. Where's 3:3? Hold up. There we go. A time to kill, harak, right? This is H20:26. Okay. And obviously, context is everything. But look, to kill, to slay, murder, destroy, murderer, slayer, out of hand, to kill or slay, to destroy or ruin, right? When it's used as slay, it's used 100 times. To kill, 24 times. Okay? To smite with deadly intent. To destroy. To murder. Put to death. Make slaughter. Right? Persons used not only of private homicide, right, but also of the slaughtering of enemies in war. So this is used for both homicide as in a personal individual case and in terms of war in general. Right? So these are other places for which it is used. The word slew or slay or kill or murder. Right? So this is a good website for y'all to use if you don't speak Hebrew like me, which is Blue Letter Bible. You can get it for your phone as well. Right? So let's keep going. So we already did the tender-hearted. Let's keep going.
I want to allow free people to do things like that.
I know.
Not saying I do them.
All right, folks, you can catch
Maybe
John
you do them, but
on his show tonight. Yes, I'm a big fan of the prostitutes.
Yeah, they took Josh down. I don't even have a number for him, and I haven't seen him make a new page or nothing yet. I don't have an email for him or nothing. And I'd really like to know what the fuck is going on with his page. You know what I mean? And this is why it's important for us to share contacts with each other. So just in case stuff goes down, we can always call and to make sure that everything's okay. You know what I mean? So I got to do a better job of doing that too. But we'll work on it.
Stossel on the Fox Business Network. It's tonight.
All right. So we did this one.
Can't fight back.
Okay,
What's
look.
happening today is that the offender, the bad guys, are happy to break into somebody's house. They're not frightened.
Listen, the offenders, the bad guys, are happy to break into somebody's house, right?
To break into somebody's house while they're at home.
Citizens,
While they're at home, when they're not at home, these niggas don't give a fuck. Why? Nah, you just saying that because you white and he didn't let you in his page. That nigga's on point.
denied the right to protect themselves by a justice system that won't.
Well, my opinion of the legal system here is it's absolutely weak. Weak as water. I mean, they've just got no backbone. The sentencing for various crimes is just pathetic.
And police who can't. They're undermanned and morale has never been lower.
It's very
No, he doesn't, nigga.
bad at the moment. It's never been worse. Since 1993, we've had a real decrease in over 230 sworn police officers in this state.
These policemen have joined the job, police women have joined the job to go out and do it, and they can't even attend it at break.
Word, stop bad-mouthing my nigga before I kick your ass out.
or assaults, because there's no vehicle to even get them there. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Gun laws that have backfired. And Australians who have been forced to hide behind bars and deadbolts. Some are even installing extensive security systems because the firearms they still own that haven't been banned have to be locked up, unloaded, and unavailable.
I mean, get real. If I have someone break in here, I've got to go get the bolt, get the rifle, find the ammunition somewhere else, put it all together, and then...
Are you hearing what he's saying, right? Look at the difficulty he got to go through just to defend himself. Look at this nigga's face.
Bars and deadbolts. Some are even installing extensive security systems.
And now they got to pay all this money to put cameras up, only for your ass to be murdered anyway. So the only thing that they can do for you really is to find out who murdered you. They can't protect you from being murdered. Like this is crazy.
The firearms they still own that haven't been banned have to be locked up, unloaded, and unavailable.
I mean, get real.
Look at his face.
Here, I've got to go get the bolt, get the rifle, find the ammunition somewhere.
Nigga said I gotta go get the bolt, get the rifle, then I gotta go somewhere else and get the ammunition. Like, this nigga's stressed.
Or else put it all together and then defend myself. If this other person's got a firearm, it's going to threaten my life.
Oh, God.
Wait, it doesn't bloody add up.
And they're destroying these guns, man.
Gun bans that haven't made a difference.
But you see, here's another reason why gun bans don't make a difference, right? Gun bans don't make a difference because that means that you now have to pretty much, all right, how are you going to take away the knowledge of a blacksmith, right? We know that a blacksmith is able to make weapons, right? He works with metallurgy, right? So a gunsmith, somebody who's a blacksmith that has the ability to make guns, how are you going to stop them from doing that? It's like the prohibition, right? Let's say they make alcohol illegal again. You can shut down Hennessy, you can shut down tequila, you can shut down I don't know the big name brands, right? But you can shut down vodka or effing vodka or whatever the fuck, right? You can shut down all these brands, these manufacturing brands, but how are you going to stop the grass level, the roots level people from being able to ferment their own alcohol? This is yet another prohibition. You understand? You can literally capture all the guns in the world and destroy them, but the knowledge on how to make and manufacture them is already here. So it doesn't make sense. It's like, for instance, one of the brothers, and I fuck with his page, so I'm not overly criticizing him. I'm just saying I understand his position, but I think he needs a little bit more balance in terms of the understanding, especially with Ecclesiastes, right? So the fallen angels are the ones who taught man how to brandish and make weapons, swords, and breastplates, and shields, and things of this nature, right? So the fallen angels taught them, but guess what? When you read the books of Joshua, chapters 9, 10, 11, and throughout, you're going to see the Most High God instructing Joshua to use swords and weapons to go on not only the offensive, but to be on the defensive. Now, why would the Most High allow Joshua and them to use weapons which were never given to them by the Most High God initially, but actually given to them by the fallen angels? Why would God do that? Because even if he removed every physical sword there is, the knowledge on how to produce them is still here. So you might as well be able to use a neutral tool so that you can combat your opposition. This is just how it works, right? This is how free will works. I know some of you are like, well, why doesn't God magically make the guns and the weapons disappear? He's God, right? Because he's bound by his word. We have free will. And this is the thing a lot of immature people refuse to understand. The ability to choose. If you didn't have the ability to choose, you tell God that he's a tyrant, that he's a dictator, and he doesn't allow people to do what they want and make mistakes. But then when he allows you to make mistakes, you turn around and criticize him for not restricting you enough. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like you don't have any ability to have any accountability. That sounds like you're not ready to be a God. Because, you know, a part of being God, a God or godhood is self-accountability, responsibility, self-responsibility, taking up for your consequences, which you have to pay for. It's a responsibility in being a God, not just a gift. And it takes maturity to have that level to handle it. This is why he's got to test his product. Do you understand? You can create things, but if you give it free will, you then have to test the product. That's all he's doing. It's the same thing with the angels, right? The angels clearly showed that they couldn't handle some of the responsibilities that it took to be godlike beings. That's why a lot of them got, or the ones who fell got demoted. Come on. Like, it's like once you take the spooky bullshit out of it, you'll have an easier time. Let me just do this real quick. I can't put this on camera. I just gotta remember I'm at work. Let me just increase this real quick because it's already 1 o'clock. Hang on a second. How much time we got? All right, we got 15 minutes. Just give me a second. Oh, he doing well. Hang on. I'll boost him up to 7. Yeah, that sounded about right. Okay.
And gun owners now struggling to stop a growing momentum against them.
The people pushing the removal of guns from the Australian society are already saying that's only the first step publicly. That's only the first step. Now we want the handguns. We want every other firearm.
They're warning to Americans, don't think it can't happen to you. It can.
All right, if we do another live, then I'll watch this movie Bushwick. So I wanted to do a breakdown of Bushwick, so we'll try and do that.
And it already is.
Unless you, as a firearms owner, get off your butt now and start...
Man, that's what I be trying to tell these motherfuckers. They be like, you're on Instagram all the time. I'm like, first off, nigga, I have to sleep at some point. Technically, I don't sleep. I just take extended naps. So it's gotten to the point where over the last 5 years, because I work nights, I sleep usually 5, maybe 6 hours. You know, that's not a day, it's just days I work. Since I've been working at this lab, I haven't been able to have a consistent schedule. This motherfucker works me like I'm full-time, when really I'm only part-time. I work max 4 days a week. You understand? So when you see me on video, well, not the last 3 months or 4 months now, because the other tech quit. So he's been short, so he's been literally overworking me. But like, I do more than 40 hours now for the last 3 months. That's why I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, because he's not paying me enough. Like, I worked 10 days, I should have seen at least $3,000. Right? I worked 10 days. That should have been at least somewhere close to 3K. I didn't see nowhere near close to 3K. So that lets me know it's reality check time. I got to get the fuck out of here, because the usefulness of money is I'm losing time. So I need to put myself in a position to make the most amount as I can while still, being in restriction of the laws I got to uphold. And at the same time, being wary that soon they're going to start chipping people. And I'm thinking it's by the end of 2018 that once you put that microchip in, that's it. You either have a chip. I'm not going to be able to work in a hospital in a year or two. So I need to get in that motherfucker now to get the money up out of there so I could be able to maneuver. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just how some of my planning goes. So a lot of these people, they'll complain. They'll be like, well, you're on here all day. I'm like, no shit, motherfucker. I'm getting paid. You understand? I get paid to teach you niggas for free, so I don't have to charge you. So be happy that this situation is the way that it is. You understand? Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to buy the resources I can without having to do that. I'd have to constantly ask you for donations and then be like the rest of these niggas. So be happy that the situation is the way that it is and that y'all show me favor. He didn't have to. So let's keep it going.
To oppose those that want to take them off of you right here and now, I would say that within 5 to 10 years, the restrictions on gun owners in America will be similar to what happens in Australia.
Don't trust your politicians. Get in there, keep on their backs. Be a member of the NRA, be a member of your local gun club.
Be part of the NRA and never, ever, ever give up freedoms, because that's, in the end, that's all you've got.
If you think you have rights, tomorrow the government can take them away from you. I think the Americans have to be very, very careful.
And look, this is the Australians. Well, I know they're white people. That's irrelevant. Just listen. Fuck all of the external. Listen to what he's saying. Right? That's what's most important. Okay?
Because, their rights will be quickly eroded, as ours have, and we don't have a chance in hell of getting those rights back.
They don't have a chance in hell in getting them back. And that's the same thing that's happening to America. Right? So, hey, listen. It's the same shit that's happening. And then there's like 10 minutes left, so I'll do another video. Just in case y'all wondering why I keep itching my nose, it's because I'm getting older now, so apparently nose hairs is kicking in. And then I didn't shave this motherfucker yet, so that the hairs in here are combating with the hairs in my nose, and they're tangling with each other, and it's creating itchiness. Alright? I'm getting old. I'm getting up there. I'm realizing that. Okay? See, and that's exactly why I did that explanation, because there's always a motherfucker in here that'll be like, cocaine? Like, listen.
This is a SIG 550. It's designed to...
We did this already. The fuck? Okay, so we did that. We'll probably do one more. We'll do one more. We'll do this one. Yeah, I'm in my late 20s. I'm in my late 20s, so I'm starting to grow nose hairs and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm still, like, I complained about it months ago, but I'm still really getting used to this motherfucker. Because it's like, the fuck is that? Like...
Witnesses reported hearing a hissing sound, and then he opened fire.
All right, look.
Tom Palmer's one of the plaintiffs who sued D.C. over the right to have a gun, about gun violence going up. Since Washington's gun law passed, the murder rate actually increased, even while America's murder rate dropped.
A gun buyback that forced law-abiding citizens to surrender their firearms in a nationwide roundup and meltdown. of all semi-automatic firearms and pump-action rifles and shotguns.
Crazy. Crime increased significantly. See, we just seen this.
9%. Assaults involving guns rose 28%. Gun murders increased 19%. And a new phenomenon, home invasions jumped 21%.
Like, this is crazy, just to show you how quickly it can jump.
Here it is for murder. It's impressive. After the law passed, crime...
We just seen this. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look for that. I'm gonna look for that Bushwick movie so that we can show you the predictive programming, because we already done seen this information already. So I'm gonna shut this one out and then give me like 5 minutes and then we'll open up another one.